A book just makes you way more credible. I have so many testimonials of a guy that wanted to write a book to become a speaker, and he's got a great business. He doesn't have to work on his business, and now he wanted to evolve. We got Dr. Ivan Meisner, the president of BNI, to write the foreword for the book, and now he's a speaker. He speaks all over the place.
That's amazing.
If you want to be a speaker, listen. Event planners will not even smell your way if you don't have a book, if they don't know.
Thanks everybody for tuning in right now. I know there's a bunch of you logging in right now. It is 10 o'clock in the morning and we are gonna go live with this Zoom call. So today is all about writing a book. And so a lot of you that track me and follow me know that I've published 2 books already, The Blueprint as well as Take Action. So, and the Blueprint was designed when we had first opened up our brokerage. We designed the Blueprint in order to assist real estate professionals into really having a blueprint on how to get their business going. And believe it or not even realizing that we probably should have added a whole chapter on writing a book and becoming an SME. And so we took that and I followed up. That first book I wrote with Rudy Hernandez. Rudy Hernandez is the owner of New World Title, really great guy. And then I followed that book up with Take Action, because what I found was a lot of people would talk about doing things and they would come up with really great plans, but they would very rarely actually execute on the plan. And so we wrote a book called Take Action, like letting people know, hey, if you don't actually do it, it's not gonna work, right? So again, everybody tuning in, and there might be some new listeners out there. My name is David Adam Kurz. I am a real estate agent, broker associate down here in Miami, Florida. I run the Kurz team at EXP Realty and formerly Kurz Real Estate, which has changed. And a lot of people tracking that already know that as well. I also coach, and the name of my coaching company is the Enterprise Coaching. And so every week we bring on a new guest to bring you solid, clean, professional information. And today I brought on Mr. Eli Gonzalez. Let me introduce you real quick, because you are officially the godfather of ghostwriting. And you're one of the, probably one of the best ghostwriters in the United States today, right? 85 books, 86 is going to be mine, right? And you've written books for ministry leaders, for professionals, for businessmen. I mean, just so much that you've done. You've got a couple New York Times bestsellers. You've done The Fierce Urgency of Now, debuted #3 on Amazon. That's one of your personal 6 books, right?
Yeah.
So congratulations on that. That's huge.
Thank you, brother.
And you've faced a lot of adversity, a lot of craziness over the last couple of years. You've been a speaker at the Real Talk Conference, which we host in October. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
I appreciate the opportunity, man.
Yeah, what a lot of people don't know is you also stayed a couple more days after the conference, and you participated with a small group of VIP guests, and you were able to sit with them and really go in depth in writing books. So I want everyone to know who you are. Like, I've done a very butchered job of introducing a solid professional. I want everybody to know who you are. First of all, thank you for doing this with me, Eli. I know it's crazy times in the world today, man. We just got our stay-at-home order. So, everybody basically has to do what they already been doing, stay at home. But, thanks for joining me. If you could, let everybody know who you are.
Thanks so much, man. David, it's a pleasure. And to everybody watching, I hope you guys are safe. Take this threat as a real threat. And I hope you're all doing the right things. My name is Eli Gonzalez. I've been called one of the preeminent ghostwriters of our day. I was the senior ghostwriter for the largest Christian publishing company in the world. And as their senior ghostwriter, I've been privileged and blessed to write books for ministry leaders known around the world, for some conservative political leaders, and launched my company, The Ghost Publishing, 6 years ago. To date, I've written, like you said, David, 85 books as a ghostwriter, edited tons more, authored personally 6 books. And I founded the International Ghostwriters Association, my online course. Now I teach people how to make a living as a ghostwriter.
Nice. So you're teaching other people how to basically write books for other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not teaching,
I had to track that
I'm
because
not teaching.
I want people to really understand that, right?
Right.
You know, there's a difference between teaching somebody how to write a book for themselves, and then there's a big difference in teaching somebody how to write a book for someone else, because
It's an entirely different skill set. You know, ghostwriters, we're a different breed of writer. You know, we can't write things the way we would like to. We have to write things to the point where the person's spouse would say, "Wow, babe, this sounds just like you." Yet we have to write it in a way that is going to give the client, the author, what they expect from the book. So it can't be 100% how the client might want it, because they probably don't know what book they need.
right.
So it's kind of a balancing act. So you have to know, you know, a business.
And I'm going to get into that a little bit further with you too, because I want to break that down. And if you could, and I don't know if you know the answer to this or not, I want to tap into this. How many of the books in let's say that are authored in the world, how many of them would you say in a percentage are ghostwritten?
Well, from anybody famous, you know, you have either all of them are ghostwritten, or what's called a developmental edit, meaning that you know, they wrote it first, but then it went to a professional writer, and then they wrote over it. So they kind of edited it, but also wrote into it. That's called developmental edit.
So that's how I did my second book. I wrote a lot,
Okay.
and then there was a complete edit over what I had done.
Yeah, yeah. And so there's different kind of editing, right? There's basic editing, you got your line editing where it's a little bit more intensive, but then there's developmental edit where the editor will actually create content. And so for anybody famous, they've at least had a developmental edit. And I know quite a few ghostwriters that do that for some famous people. I've been privileged to do that for some famous people.
And the reason I asked this, and you just basically said, like, if you're famous, busy, a president, or anything else, right? Somebody else is writing that book, right? And I wanted to really start our conversation with that, because I know a lot of people are either they say, I don't have time to write a book. That's the number one, right? So it really is the number one reason why people don't write a book. Either I don't have time to write a book, or I don't even know how to write a book. I don't know where to start, right? And then, then the other part is somebody will say, you know, somebody who's like ego driven, you know, they'll say, I want to write my own book. I feel like it's cheating if somebody else writes my book, right?
Yeah.
And to me, that's like who would you, Leonardo DiCaprio getting on the set and going, no, guys, I'm going to act, I'm going to produce, I'm going to edit, I'm going to cut, I'm going to do makeup, I'm going to dress, I'm going to do everything, because if not, this movie's going nowhere, right?
Right.
And so, you know, everybody has to play their part. And I think that there's a lot of business professionals out there, and I see some of the names up here that are logged in right now that really have something to say, man. You know?
Yeah. And it's a shame if they don't put it into a book. You know, it really is a shame. I forget who it was. I think it was Dr. Monroe that said that the most expensive place is a cemetery, because so much gold has been buried there. You know, stories, experiences in people's minds that they never jotted down,
right?
That they took with them to the grave. You know, so absolutely, man. If you've reached a level of expertise, you know, get your book out for so many reasons. But you know, to answer your question, where a lot of people think that it's kind of cheating if they get a ghostwriter, I get it. You know, I come from the Christian world, where I would hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Where somebody would say, well, how can I say that it's my book? And here's the thing, it's your content. So I have a very unflattering way of describing what we do. It's just very unflattering for us. But we ghostwriters are literary midwives, where we help you take your baby out into the world. Right? Okay. But it ain't my baby. The baby doesn't have my name. You know, it's your baby. Just because a midwife helped you birth it doesn't mean it's hers or his.
That's hilarious. I love this.
So that's my very unflattering way of calling what we do. But it is their concept. It is their words. It is their experience, their methodology, their intellectual property. You
All
know,
right, so I'm gonna go through, bang out some topics with you. We got about 30 minutes from now.
let's
So,
roll.
all right, so I want to bang out some topics. Why write a book? So I often say that writing a book will make you an SME. For those of you out there that don't know what an SME is, it's a subject matter expert. Basically, what that means is that if you if you wrote this book right here, then you are the subject matter expert on whatever is in this book, because that is what the public will perceive. Am I right?
Absolutely.
All right, so give me some more reasons on why people should be writing books.
Well, first of all, any business owner, I think, that's been in business for more than 3 to 5 years now has the cachet, the credibility to write a book. The reason being is because, like Forbes.com states, that about 76% of businesses crash and burn within the first 5 years. If you're still in business after that, you've learned what 76% of people have not learned. That qualifies you as an expert. For me, that's my barometer, right? So not just anybody should write a book, but if you're 3 to 5 years and you're profitable, man, you can help a lot of people with that knowledge that you've gained. You've done things your own way that other people can benefit from. So that's who should write a book.
Okay.
Now, you know, and that differs. If you were vegan all your life, whatever. I mean, there's some caveats to that.
Yeah, then you can write a book about being a vegan. I get it.
Right.
Right.
So I mean, a book just makes you way more credible. I have so many testimonials of a guy that wanted to write a book to become a speaker. And you know, he's got a great business. He doesn't have to work on his business. And now he wanted to evolve. You know, we got Dr. Ivan Meisner, the president of BNI, to write the foreword for the book. And now he's a speaker. He speaks all over the place.
That's
You know,
amazing.
if you want to be a speaker, listen, event planners will not even smell your way if you don't have a book, if they don't know you. Right? If you want to get on media, I have a client here in the Tampa area. He's been on Bay News 9 over here. Wow, at least 13 times, because he's got a book. Because anytime they think, well, who in our backyard is an expert?
In that particular subject.
Because he's got an author. He wrote a book on it. Now he's there all the time. What that's done to his business is immense. I've got another client, a financial advisor, never sold the book, but he's upped his closing ratio from 1 out of 10 to 2.5 out of 10. Doubled his business because he's got a book. There's so many reasons. You are so much more easier for people to refer you if they have a book.
Right.
If you have a book. No. You got to talk to my friend. He wrote a book on this.
Right. And again, that makes you the subject matter expert, right?
Yeah, I mean, and look, if you're a realtor, like if you're a realtor or a broker, right? How many freaking realtors are there? You know, you could be one out of 3,000. If you write a book, you're all of a sudden you're 1 out of 5.
Right.
Right. And
because there's not a lot of published authors that are real estate professionals. There really aren't. Like there's a couple, there really aren't. And here's the funny part, and this is the proof in the pudding, right? When a real estate professional actually writes a good book, it enhances their career to the point that you don't even know them as a realtor, you know them as a public figure.
Exactly. I wrote a book for a guy here in Tampa. We subtitled the book by Tampa's Real Estate Guru. Yo, David, what that did to his business. People that used to make fake fun of him, oh, here comes the guru. That became a real solid introduction to people. No. Here's the guru. It's right there on the cover of his book, by Tampa's Real Estate Guru.
Yeah, this book said so.
He hit right because he said so.
Right.
And he manifested it, and he put it in writing, and he threw it out to the world. And he had never sold $1 million home before. I don't know how many he sold by now.
That's great, man. That's great testimonial. Now, all right, so we know why we should write a book. And if you're not motivated to write a book by now, then, you know, maybe it's not for you, but stay on, because this is a good subject and it may be for you one day. Like I remember for me, I always wanted to write a book, always wanted to write a book. And when I gave you those excuses at the very beginning, those were my excuses, right? I don't have time for that. I want to write it on my own because I'm David Kurz, you know, and so then I realized that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I don't have time to write a book. Maybe I should connect with somebody else to write a book. You and I are going to be working on my third book together. And you know, there's so much information that I want to get out in this third book that it was important for me to use someone like you with 85 books under your belt, right? To make sure that we get the message out. Because like you said, the way that I would write the book is very different than the way that you would write the book. However, you're a professional at making it sound like me and
Right.
getting my message out, you know, getting what I really want to say out there. And I hope the folks listening pay attention for that book, because this could be a New York Times bestseller. I can feel it in my soul.
We're going big. We're going big with that
Yeah,
one.
man. So now let's talk process, right? I'm ready, Eli. I want to write a book right now. I'm a foot doctor, and I'm going to write a book about, you know, shoes. You know, give me the process.
Okay, so the biggest mistake people make when they start to write a book is they start to write the book. Right. So let's start there. Let's start. If you're going to start writing your book and you have a blank screen, don't start with chapter 1 and start going.
Babe,
Okay?
I need you to delete some files for me. No.
You know, because what's going to happen is inevitably you're going to write yourself into a corner.
Yeah.
And then you're not going to know what to write about, and you're going to call it writer's block. By the way, writer's block does not exist. Okay. I've written 6 books myself. Ghostwriting 85. You would think I've seen it. Writer's block to me is like the Loch Ness Monster, like Bigfoot. Like I heard about it. I heard about it, but I heard people talking about it, but I haven't seen it.
But I haven't seen it.
Yeah, you know what happens is people are unprepared when they start to write. They write themselves in a corner, and then they don't know what to write, and they blame it on writer's block. That's their out. Or they sat down for 3 or 4 hours. They were super inspired, and they gave so much. Now it's like going back to the gym when you worked out too hard, too fast.
Right.
I don't want to go back there, and they blame it on writer's block. So what you need to have is patience. When you're going to start to write a book, start with a comprehensive outline, right? Map out the book. Map out the book. Now, today's reader has changed so much in the last 10 years with how much we text and everything else. Today's reader, you got to write concisely. Every chapter should have business book, should have 3 or 4 subtopics in it.
Right.
Like you don't want to write a 10 chapter book on sales with these 10 things and then put it against a book that I write for someone. And it's got those same 10 things, but in the table of contents, it shows 50 topics we talk about.
Right.
So you start that off in the outline.
You have to keep people's attention in the chapter.
Yeah.
Right.
And so David, I developed a 7-step story arc process that I'll say quickly. But it's the Hollywood proven method that I cracked the code a few years back, and it's done phenomenally well for my clients. Basically, number 1 is normalcy, right? You get any movie starts with 10 minutes of normalcy. If it's a thriller, you see how much the guy loves his kids. You know, if it's a romantic comedy, you see the girl going to dinners by herself, talking to her cat. You know, so every author, every director will establish normalcy. If you're writing a book about your life, that's kind of easy to do, establishing normalcy, where you were born, siblings, etc. Now, a methodology book, a business book, that's a different monster, right? So how do you establish normalcy? A lot of people try to do it by writing about themselves. I this, I that. I feel like writing this book. God called me to do this. My experience here. I've done this. And you know what? We that don't know you don't care. When we pick up your book, what we want to know is, do you know me? Right? And a lot of first-time writers or amateur writers, authors will make that mistake. They'll think it's about them. No, the back cover copy already gave you that credibility. Now when people open it up, chapter 1 needs to be all about the reader and what they're going through. Maybe you suffered through this. Maybe you've gone through that. Perhaps you've seen this.
Right, so, because most of the people writing books are A-type personalities, right? Like, especially a business book.
Right.
So you want to be like, I, me. Like, it just
don't do it. Because I don't know you, so I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm the average person that's going to read this book. All I want to know is, do you know me?
Yes.
Do you know what I'm going through? And you got that chapter 1. That is prime real estate right now, right? Where Amazon gives you a sneak peek into a book, or where Amazon's the biggest bookseller. You don't want to spend chapter 1 talking about you, because there's no way I know that you know about me. Right. Hey, I don't make millions of dollars. What do you know about me?
Right.
You know, so if you're going to brag about how much money you've made and your audience is, you know, people that make 40 to 80 grand or whatever it is, you're not connecting. There's no normalcy. There's no relatability, right? So you got to start writing for the author, for the reader. What books, what are they going through? And then my step 2 is the chance happening. At the end of chapter 1, Oh, you know what, David? Hold on a second. I'm giving away some heat right now. Hold on a second. You got me giving away some hot sauce right here.
Let's go.
Let's go. People pay for this stuff, man. You got me giving it away for free. You know, and then you want to end chapter 1 with what I call the change happening, with a promise to the reader, right? And it goes, I'm going to freestyle it for you. It goes something like this. Contained in this book are answers you've been searching for that, should you allow to manifest into action, will change the trajectory of your life, will change your health, will change your relationship, will change your marriage, whatever your book is designed to do. So now somebody reads chapter 1 and they can relate to it. That's my normal life. There's normalcy. And then by the end of chapter 1, there's that promise. Hey, this guy's promising me that as I read this, there's just something in it for me. Now, chapter 2, you could talk about you. You've earned it now for the reader. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
You know, and a lot of people do it the wrong way. They start talking about themselves,
and they lose you. They lose probably a huge part of the audience, because the audience just doesn't care.
Yeah, and then think about it this way: when any show producer looks at your book, scans your book, you know, they want to know that you know the audience that they're going to bring in, their attendees.
Believe it or not, that's one of the biggest tips that I got speaking. You know, I speak nationally. I speak on stages all over the country, and hopefully soon the world. But you know, one of the biggest things that I got was, a lot of speakers get up and they go, first 3 slides is, this is who I am, this is what I've done. And they assume that will give them the credibility they need in order to move forward. And one of the biggest pieces of advice that I got was, your first few slides need to be about, this is you, and this is how we're going to fix this. And then
Right.
This is me, you know? And
Exactly.
Even some of the most professional speakers, they'll finish the entire presentation with the this is me, this is who I am. I'm so glad that you were here with me for the last 45 minutes. You know, again, my name is David Adam Kurz. This is a little bit about me. Text this number, whatever the case is, you know? But the point is that you're creating a normalcy for the audience by letting them know, I get it, right? I understand, I get it. You know, and I slip in certain things when I'm talking about coming up in the business world. I slip in, hey, look, I'm a Puerto Rican from the Bronx, right? Like, you know, I'm not a, you know, silver spoon, you know, I'm not that guy, right? So, you know, people, you know, sometimes they look at you and they go, oh, this guy, you know, he's big stuff. No, man, I'm not. I'm who I've always been. Just I put myself in better position now, right?
Right.
So now, let's say I'm ready to go right now. I'm going to hit you up and I'm going to say, let's get started. What do you do with me to get started on this book?
Well, you know, we for us, we qualify people, you know, because we want to work with the right people. You know, we don't want to work with people that a year later down the line say, hey, you know, this didn't work out for us. So
right.
We're pretty particular with who we work with. You know, we work exclusively with business professionals who want to be business leaders. You know, we work with people that want to start a ministry. You know, somebody that wants more than just book sales, so that they can then attain it. That's who we work for. So provided that you know, you meet our avatar, you know, so we start with a 90-minute process, and we've got a ton of questions that we ask, and from that 90-minute, we call it the author's launchpad. And I sell this as a separate service for some people that want to write it themselves, but they just don't know how to get going. So in those 90 minutes, you know, we come up with those 40 or 50 topics. And then I put the book through my story arc, through the flow. How should this be disseminated to the reader? Because one of the other problems that people do, David, is in the first few chapters of their book, they'll put their best content in it.
Right.
You know,
they don't know how to decimate it.
Yeah, and then by chapter 4, 5, and 6, you stopped reading it. You know, Hollywood movies aren't like that. They ramp up. There's that crescendo at the end. You know, so once we take all the contents out, we map it out in a journey, in a flow that people are going to understand. So there's that big bang at the end, right?
Right.
So once we identified, and then I say, okay, David, here's chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In chapter 2, we're talking about these things. Then what we do is we interview our clients once a week.
Okay.
Listen, I did book in a weekend before, like books at the beach, rented a big beach house, you know, and I did that, and it was very lucrative. But every single one of those clients, they lamented what they missed after. Oh man, I didn't put this in there. Oh my God, I didn't thank my wife. I didn't thank my mom. Oh, I forgot. I don't believe in doing a book in a weekend. I don't believe in doing a book in a month. I don't believe a book should take 6 months because business goes so fast. We do books right in about 3 months.
Right.
So what we do is, so I tell you, okay, we're going to interview you, David, for just these 4 things, and we're going to do this chapter. Now you've got an entire week to think about just 4 things that you're already good at. But now you can do some studies. Because I tell my clients, hey, don't bring the stuff you've been regurgitating for the last 20 years. This book is going to be a new you, right? So being that it's bite-sized pieces for them, and again, they're already experts at what they do. When they come and meet with us, man, they give us their best thinking because they've had a week to hone in on these 4 things. Now we interview for an hour a week. So we work. A lot of people say, Eli, I'm very busy, but almost everybody has an hour a week, and that's all the time that we take from them. Okay. So we interview an hour a week. 2 days after the interview, we send the chapter back. And then you take it, you edit it. Yeah, Eli, this doesn't sound like me. Eli, I love this. Hey, Eli, I didn't even say this. Why is this in my book? Well, because it's 2 heads are better than 1 thing. Now I'm giving you content that you can take ownership of. That's another good thing about being with an experienced business person that's a ghostwriter. Right. So, oh man, I didn't say this, but I love this. And in any event, you know, the client gets it, they edit it, they send it back to us. And if the client is really clear with their edits, after 3 or 4 chapters, man, we know exactly how our client speaks. We know exactly how they want it written. And we're in a groove from there. But we interview an hour a week per chapter. And that's pretty much how we walk down the book and get their best thinking, our best writing with their best input.
So now we get the book published, right? Mm-hmm. We get it out there. We do a couple signings. We get it on Amazon. We do all this stuff.
Let me stop you there for 1 second. Getting your book published is a nightmare.
But that's why we have you.
Right. Listen, for those of you guys watching now, if you write your book yourself, that's great. Get some help publishing the book. Actually, if you write the book yourself, get it professionally edited at the very least. Never trust your own editing, and don't trust an English grammar teacher to edit your book. You got to bring somebody in that knows about flow, that knows about emotion, that can really edit the book. It's not an essay. It's a book.
Right.
And then go for someone, a hybrid publisher maybe, and get help in publishing, because in order for the book to do what you want from it, you need to do it right. And experts just know those little nuances that make a big difference.
All right. So now let's go post-publish. I want to talk about post-publish for the next few minutes, because in my opinion, this is, we've talked about why we should write a book. We talked about who should write a book. We talked about when they should write a book. We talked about the process, but most important part of this whole thing truly is post-publishing, right? What do I do with a book now that I've written one, right? I'm not just gonna go on Facebook one day and go, hey guys, look, I published a book. Here's the link, instant bestseller, right? Like, I guess some people could, but even the most famous people really campaign for months on getting their book out. And a lot of times, I really want the people participating in this to know that a lot of times this really has nothing to do with selling books. That whole campaign has nothing to do with becoming a bestseller, has nothing to do with selling books. And to be very honest with you, you're not gonna make a lot of money selling books, right? Like, let's just be very clear on that. I can attest to that, right? You make a few bucks per book, maybe if you're lucky, etc. However, where you will succeed the most, let's dumb it down. If you're a real estate agent who has a book about how to sell your own home, I'm giving you guys a tip there. If you're a real estate agent who wrote a book on how to sell a home, and you presented that book to potential sellers in your area, and you just gave it to them. Imagine door knocking now. Like, I'm a real estate agent, I start door knocking, and I go, hey, how you doing? My name is David Kurz. I wrote a book about selling your own house. I saw you got a for sale by owner sign outside. Just want to give you this book, right? Who else is doing that? Everyone else is coming around with market analysis and this and that and blah, blah. Nah, man, you don't even have to use me. I'm going to give you this free information on how to sell your own house. Here's the thing. That person's going to sit down And they're either going to be an expert DIY person who like loves the DIY channel, right? And they're going to go through that whole book and go, great tips. Thanks, Dave, and sell their own house. The average person is going to look at that book, go through it, probably not even finish the book and go, this is too much.
Exactly.
And then they might call you because you were the one that came around with a book, right, on how to sell a house. They're going to say, if you wrote a book on how to sell a house, chances are you know how to do it, right? There's a pretty good chance that you know how to do it. And so they're going to hire you to do that. So post-process, this is about getting on stages, being paid to speak, being paid to do a job, right? So we just talked about that, like the real estate professional.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go to you. Like, let's just think about like when, I want to think like cosmetic surgery started to coming to light, right? And the doctor who wrote the book about cosmetic surgery and the pros and cons probably made a whole lot of money because probably a whole lot of people went to this doctor for cosmetic surgery. Am I wrong or right?
No, absolutely. And listen, here's the thing. You nailed it. A couple of things you said, you nailed right on the head. You know, for one, you don't write a business book to make a lot of money selling books, although it can happen. You write a business book to make more money in your business. And that's why we're selective with who we work with, people that understand that. Right. And then there's ways around it, you know, there's ways how to do that, you know, so you know, you can go door knocking, or you can, you know, in one stop, you know, you can talk to 25, 50 people in a networking group and give them the book and make them your evangelist. Now they believe you even more.
Right.
You know, you could send your book out to event planners, send your book out to different people, you know. Now here's the secret to that. Have someone else send it for you, because no matter what, if you send it, you can have the heart of Mother Teresa. It can't help but look self-serving.
Right.
So you know, it's
this is me.
Right.
Hire me.
Your book to help you. You know. So it's good to work. Look, you need the right book, you need the right plan, and you need the right team. Those three things will get you a huge ROI from your business book. You know what we do? We give our clients a book agent, where we identify the people that need to see this book, and we send it out to them with a letter from our publishing company saying, hey, synergistically, we feel that your values match up very well with this author. We got this hot new author, blah, blah, blah. And this is what we do, David. I'm going to give it to you for free, right? We email it a lot because a lot of books come back to us. We say, we're going to call you in 30 days. Let me know what you thought of the book. When we call in 30 days, bro, not one time has somebody read the book, right? But we know that going in. But you know what happens? They take our call. Oh man, he sent us the book. Hey, you know, Eli, I never got to read that book. No worries. I know you're busy. Let me tell you why I sent it to you. Hey, you're the show producer, right? Hey, you're the this. Hey, you're the that. Mm-hmm. Don't you think? And then we get the ask. So sometimes a book is just a massive door opener, but not like a key where it opens the door, like a wrecking ball that's just going to smash through walls. So when used the right way, we try to customize, not that we try, we customize a plan for every one of our clients because everybody's uniquely different. You know, some people, hey, I just want to up my closing ratio.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a totally different plan than I want to get on stages.
Right.
You know, so
like, yeah, and I'm glad you made that clear, and I tried to make that clear, and we both said it. You know, for the folks listening out there, writing a book doesn't necessarily mean you need to go do stages right away. It just, writing a book puts you in the position that you want to be in if you use the book appropriately, right? You know, let's just face it. Like, if you use it the right way, if you give it to the right people, you're going to get the right response. You're going to get the right feedback from it. You know, it's like if you want to be a coach, a business coach, right? You're going to write a book about whatever business it is that you're coaching on. And then you might venture to give some of those books away to top producers who will then turn around to their teams and let's say medium and low producers and say, guys, read this book. This is a good book. And now this person's going on Amazon to buy your book. And then in the end of that book, it says, if you'd like to be coached by, you know, XYZ, let me pick one of the listeners or people watching. If you would like to be coached by Lazaro Suarez, you know, you can reach him at XXXX. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So it's just, I think that post-publishing is probably one of the most important things. Again, why you want to work with somebody who's experienced in how to get this information out there, you know? Now,
And you mentioned something. You mentioned something that I want to touch on for the people that are watching. Put your secret sauce in the book. Some people are like, "Oh, I can't give away the farm."
give away everything, man.
Right? Then your book's going to be weak sauce. They're not going to trust you. I wrote this book years ago, Words of Influence: How to Write Your Business Book, and in there details step by step my process and how to write a book. And people were like, "Oh, you can't put that in there. They're not going to need you." I've got so much more business because people read that book.
Right.
Where they're like, "I think I know how to do this, but I don't think I can do it right." Eli, let's talk.
Right. And it's the exact same thing that I was saying a minute ago.
Yeah,
Write a book about how to sell a house and give that away.
exactly.
Right. Write a book on how to find your own home and purchase it on your own and give it away.
And business folks out there. So now this book is not on the market. Words of Influence is not on the market because I've extrapolated the content from it for my course. So those of you that think of one day having your own online course, it's a lot easier to convert a book into a course than just to create a course from the nothing.
Right.
So a book can have a few different stages if you plan it out right.
Right.
But you need the right team, you need the right plan.
Man, that's fantastic information. All right, let me give you one. If you had to give everyone out here one really huge, solid piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh man. Well, other than stay safe, guys, stay safe. But my big advice is write your book. Write your book.
Tell your story.
You don't want to be nice and old and on your deathbed regretting what you didn't do, and that's write a book. Fear, feelings of inadequacy. Who's going to read my book? Man, just run through that.
Yeah.
Do that and write your book. Your kids, if you have kids, your kids will look at you as a hero all over again. Your book will outlast you. When you're dead and gone, people will know that you walked this earth because you've left some knowledge behind. A book is a big deal. I want to encourage every single business person out there. Man, you've cracked the code. You found the way to do things your own way. And if it's been working for you and it's been working for other people, share that knowledge. You got to come from a mindset of abundance.
Right.
Just give it away. Give it away. God has a way of bringing all that back to you tenfold. Yep. So write your book.
Man, I appreciate you spending some time with us. And the funny part is, we're on lockdown. Most of you ain't got nothing better to do. Write your book. You know what I mean? Like it's now's the time, baby. Eli should be super busy.
Start with your outline. Start with a comprehensive outline. 4 bullets.
Thank you so much for doing this with me. I think it's a wealth of information for everyone out there, and I appreciate you being on this with me, and I appreciate you consistently coming on to events and things that we do. And honestly, I hope it brings you abundance in return. And for everybody out there, I try to bring some of the best to give you this sort of information. And in my opinion, Eli is the best of the best when it comes to ghostwriting and putting books out there. So I want to leave everybody with one thing. We're facing a crazy time right now in the world. Stay safe, stay at home. Don't risk it. Don't let people come over. Write a book, read a book, stay in touch with your clients, which is extremely important. Be very consistent every day in getting dressed, taking a shower. And even if you just go sit in the kitchen table and open your computer, stay busy and stay consistent, because those of us who are consistent and strong with our clients will surpass this and come out of the other side borderline unscathed. Mm-hmm. And I want everybody to know that. We'll always have future trainings going on. If you would, please text Enterprise1. That's the word Enterprise with the number 1 to 33222. Enterprise1 to 33222. And we'll always keep you in touch with everything that we're doing as far as coaching and events are concerned. Eli, how can people get in touch with you?
My email, Eli at The Ghost Publishing. I am The Ghost. Eli at theghostpublishing.com. theghostpublishing.com is my website.
Awesome.
Godfather of Ghostwriting is another one of my sites. But if anyone has any questions, you know, I don't charge to answer questions. You know, I'm rooting for you, man. Get your book out, you know, help the world. Eli at the Ghost Publishing, Eli. I'll be happy to help.
All right, brother. Thanks very much for doing this with me. Thanks everybody for tuning in. And we will see you next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. See ya.
Peace.